On behalf of my Platformation colleagues, I want to extend a warm welcome to everybody to our Vancouver release. I have a wonderful panel of subject matter experts who are going to bring you content on the following topics that we'll cover in just a moment. Before we dig into the content, I did want to start with a few housekeeping rules. The participants should see a Q&A option at the top ribbon, so please use that function to submit questions throughout the webinar. There will be some time at the end for Q&A, but my panel of experts will be monitoring that throughout the course of the webinar as well. We have taken care to mute everyone's lines, but please just double check so that the audio doesn't get disrupted. And we will make sure to email a recording of the session when it's concluded. All right, so today's tour guides, we will be bringing you content on the following topics. It's going to span customer service management, platform capabilities, strategic portfolio management, IT service management, HR service delivery, field service management, platform analytics, integrated risk management, and last but certainly not least, App Engine. And without further ado, I am going to turn it over to my colleague Sebastian Tisch, who is going to cover the release updates on customer service management.
Yes, hi everyone. So I'm Sebastian and I'm here today to show you what's new in customer service management. I brought some exciting new features for you, starting with dashboards, in addition to the responsibility framework, as well as the new GenAI Now Assist. So let's get started with the first one, dashboards. Finally, the time has come and dashboards made their way to the configurable workspace. Now agents can create their own dashboards, share dashboards with others, view existing dashboards, which ServiceNow brings a couple that you can use right away without ever having to switch back to the platform UI. So now we're one step closer to really making sure that an agent has everything they need on their configurable workspace. Plus, the admins don't have to create a whole bunch of variant landing pages just for the different roles. This is a feature for the configurable workspace. And on that note, keep in mind that with the Vancouver release, the agent workspace will be deprecated. So you need to move to the new configurable workspace. If you need help with that, make sure to contact us. We have a plan for exactly this kind of migration. All right, next we have the declarative responsibility framework. So you already know the responsibility framework that lets you build account teams based on users and contacts, so externals and internals around an account. Now you have the possibility to attach an additional layer of access control to those responsibilities. For example, if you say that, hey, if somebody is an account manager, they should have read access on the related cases of their account. Or maybe they should have read access on the related install-based items. Then now you don't need any coding anymore. You have this responsibility framework extension here, where you can simply define this, no code, just with a couple of clicks, no customization needed. So it's a great addition if you want to provide some extra visibility or security. All right. Last but not least, we have one of the GenAI features, the Now Assist case summarization. So now you can pretty much ask the generative AI to summarize a case for you. And as you can see in the screenshot, it will pretty much put a rather brief or longer text, depending on your decision on how you want it to summarize for the case for you. So it will explain what the issue was, what was done to solve it. So it will make it easy for the agent to hand the case over to another agent, maybe to define the resolution notes, or the case action summary, the post-case review, anything where you might need a summarization of what actually happened in that case. All right, for this, for the GenAI features, the licensing details are not yet published, but if you want to know more about all the new CSM features, there are a bunch more, please make sure to contact me and we can have a longer session on the topic. And with that, I will hand over to my colleague Willem for platform capabilities.
Yeah, thank you, Sebastian. Indeed, platform capabilities. Now, as Sebastian already hinted at, if we talk about the platform capabilities, you cannot get around generative artificial intelligence or GenAI, as it is in many presentations. So two out of the three topics here are also GenAI. And then the last topic is generate ATFs. So how can we make that easier? So on the first one, generative artificial intelligence. The one I picked to start with is the conversational experience, where your customers, your employees, while interacting with your service desk, they get assisted by that powerful Now Assist capability. You see here in the screenshot, powered by Now Assist, so it clearly marks where the AI is involved. I think a good strategy. Think about how you deploy AI, and in this case, it is clear what is powered by that Now Assist. It allows for users less time waiting for a live agent. The standard questions can be handled. A lot more scenarios and information can already be gathered before that live agent is involved, speeding up things. For this offering, this is also to be determined price-wise. Then the next generative AI, that for me as a developer, and probably all developers and administrators, maybe even architects, have been waiting for this feature. That is text to code. So what you see here on the right is you can type in a comment, the green lines at 3 to 5, what you want the script to do, and then automatically the code will be generated. It's not perfect yet. It's a very good starting point for your code. I think always, maybe that's my critical architect, always review the code that is generated. And of course, even with the generative AI, you can also improve the code. So this is also iterative. And what we've seen as well from experimentation, it is improving over time. So expect that to continue on as well. And then the last one, not related to GenAI, but very important, is ATF test generation. In this Vancouver release, it is way easier to create a new ATF because you can generate tests automatically. So as an architect, as an administrator, this really helps you ensure the quality of your platform. Automated test, the regression test, very important. If you build something new, make changes, and this lowers the threshold for your developers and your platform admins to create those tests and run them. So very nice, very valuable. Now time to hand it over to Pranos, Strategic Portfolio Management.
Thanks a lot. Let's talk about strategic portfolio management. Three main areas today: data separation, resource management, and financial planning. If we look at data separation, ServiceNow has introduced a newly functionality about being able to separate our data across our organization. It uses the existing lens structure that we all know and have been introduced in the last releases. And based on our lenses, we now can effectively have data control and can separate our data based on, for example, business units, departments, or companies, actually based on the lens that we have defined. What we see is that many times organizations need to separate their data based on compliancy, based on internal, let's say, policies. Now with this feature, it will make it more simple. It will be easier. To note on this aspect, it is only available from the Vancouver release and only for SPM. ServiceNow has plans for data separation also across the platform, but at this moment, it is only published for SPM. If we continue to the next topic, resource management, always a hot topic from what I know, at last. At last, now we are able to bring in a single place work planning and resource scheduling at the same time. So in one overview, as part of the project workspace, project managers now will be able to adjust their planning, directly see what the impact is for their resources, and in a very simple way, adjust these and be always, let's say, ready to resolve any kind of bottlenecks that may occur. On a more high level, on portfolio level, we also have a newly introduced comprehensive overview of resource capacity, which will allow us to have a visual on our full resource landscape, to be able to analyze it, to be able to see what are the bottlenecks and where do we need to focus on a short and long term to, let's say, for example, hire new capacity in the organization. Next, the last topic of today, again, in the next experience, we have a new financial planning module within the project workspace, a new modern, let's say, overview that will allow any user, in this case, for example, a project manager or our financial controllers, to get a full overview of all the financials that a project has, to get an, let's say, insights to the past with actuals, at the same time, insights to the future, to the forecasting of our financials. With inline editing, we can really easy change our financials. We can adapt these, and also at the same time, we can create cost plans, expense lines, everything from a single place. So less administrative effort, what we see for the end user, improved decision making, and of course, better alignment. That was it from my part. 3 areas. If you want, you can always reach out to know more. I will hand it over to Elsa to talk about IT service management. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Panos. So indeed, let's move on with ITSM. First, I'm going to talk about task intelligence for ITSM, and then I'll touch upon a nice enhancement within the virtual agent area. And lastly, I want to touch upon some important deprecations within the ITSM environment. So next, task intelligence for ITSM. This is different than the predictive intelligence in the sense that we use now intelligence models specific for use cases, for specific use cases. And on top of that, these can support multiple languages at the same time, which was not yet possible with predictive intelligence. With the task intelligence, agents working in the service operator workspace will have recommendations on certain fields in the incident form. For example, the service, configuration item, assignment group can get recommended information filled in, and that can be used by the agent to accept or not, and that lowers the time that the agent needs to fill in the full form. This leads, of course, to shorter mean time to repair. The agent can spend more time on resolving the incidents. Next, task intelligence also provides the admins with a no-code experience. So really, as it is shown here, it's about clicking in some boxes, it's about accepting or changing some criteria, some conditions, and then you have a model which is working on all of your records. It's also tracked, it's monitored, and then that's specific information you can then reuse to adapt your created model. It comes out of the box with a model already there, which is actually already showing the recommendations on what I said, service, CI, and the assignment group. But of course, you can change it to whatever you want to use it for in your environments. Task intelligence has a low upgrade impact. So it means there's only a couple of plugins that need to be installed, but it requires, of course, 10,000 records as a minimum for the machine learning purposes. And to be mentioned as well, specifically, it comes only with the ITSM Pro licensing. Next topic. This one is about having the possibility to have multiple active virtual agent conversations. This is not purely linked to ITSM, but still I wanted to highlight this because it has a positive impact on the overall experience for the user. With these enhancements, it's now possible to have multiple active conversations in the different portals without having a risk of sharing sensitive data between the different ones. In the pre-Vancouver releases, for instance, if you had opened an HR conversation, so on the HR portal, and then brought up an IT request. The chat continued in the IT portal. However, this request could then contain the sensitive data shared during the HR conversation. Alternatively, the admins could use a skip load history parameter, but then the initial conversation was closed and the new IT chat continued. So now with this new or enhanced feature, users can have multiple simultaneous active conversations, but based and directed by the chosen context, and that without any interruption. This enhancement is only available for all Pro licenses, and the upgrade is low. However, make sure that you discuss the use cases specific for your organization. And then next, I wanted to highlight the most important applications for the Vancouver release. The main ones having an impact on the virtual agents and on the workforce optimization for ITSM. The first one on the virtual agent is that the Save As image button and its functionality, has been removed. However, the screenshots you can still take, the topic diagram screenshots you can still take by any other means. For the message preview card, that one has been removed from the conversational interfaces. And then for workforce optimization for ITSM, the access control related fields are removed from the event type form in the scheduler. Examples are the manager access, the allow agent create, and so on. Access control is now to be defined using user criteria, but the existing access settings from before Vancouver are preserved when doing the upgrades. And then now I can hand it over to my colleague Remco, who will talk about HRSD.
Hello, thank you, Else. Also for HR service delivery, Vancouver has some nice new features. I'm choosing basically the key items or following the items that reflect the roadmap for HRSD. The first one is COE security policies update. Then I will focus on employee center news feature on the portal. And finally, a brand new module, employee growth and development. So let's start with COE policies. COE policies actually reflect, are very important for your security, making sure services are directed to the right agents, and as well data is secured for proper access as well. It can be, especially when you have a lot of COEs, a painful exercise to maintain the COE policies, and that's made easy actually by adding a policy name field and short description, which offer you the possibility to use a naming, to configure a naming that's more closely to the way the COE is used in your company. And second, you can choose to apply the settings of a certain table to all child tables and COEs, which decreases the effort for maintenance. So this is a feature that's available for all HRSD customers, and you can basically apply it once you do upgrade to Vancouver. So the next item I like to show is Employee Center News Center. A lot of clients use currently knowledge management and knowledge articles for news. But next to that, ServiceNow is offering a new news center on Employee Center, which helps you to create news articles within content publishing. So not knowledge management, but content publishing, which has an easy editor and a lot of standard templates to create the news and to publish the news to different audiences. Out of the box, this is offered as a separate or an additional page, a News Center page on your Employee Center. And it goes with, in total, 4 new widgets. And you are also able to show your news list on the front page of the Employee Center portal. So next, is basically a brand new module that's developed based on the acquisition of Hitchworks last year. Employee growth and development is basically the answer to organizations having a lot of siloed tools for growth and development, for skills registration in the way, and that leads to disconnected data and fragmented services. So actually this module is helping you to simplify and optimize the experience for employees. It's easy actually to maintain your skills from different perspectives and use them actually to map skills on required jobs or and map it to the proper departments where the skills are needed. So this offering is actually offered as a separate SKU, so it's on top of HRSD, but building upon the skills that are already features that are already available in ServiceNow. So now I'm handing over to Sergio for field service management.
Thank you very much, Remco. For field service management, there's actually more than new features, a lot of optimizations done within the products, and we're going to run through a few of them. As in the Vancouver release, there's a heavy focus on, as mentioned, optimizing the functionality that are already available in the platform, and as well some several quality of life improvements. We're going to be going through the schedule optimization, a new substates on-site arrival, which comes with a new improvements into the work order task workflow as well, and then a small glance at some of the many product enhancements that happened in the Vancouver release. So in terms of the schedule optimization, now dispatchers and shift managers, when using field service management, can adapt the organization to unforeseen events, like, for example, absences, illnesses, or any other unavailabilities from field agents, and allow them to reschedule the planned tasks for a specific day according to that new capacity or availability of the field engineers. On top of it, there's also an integration with Beans.ai, which to assist on the schedule optimization allows ServiceNow to now calculate even more accurate travel times for the work orders that are planned in the schedule, whether they are batch or bundles of tasks, so batch orders, or intraday activities. Together with this, we have, just similar to other products, and as mentioned already today, our policies here called optimization policies that define the rules for recalculating or reshifting the planned activities, which is extremely important so that your organization can adapt to these inconveniences without affecting the perception from our customers on the service that we deliver. Next on the line, we have the on-site arrival substate, which is actually a small detail of what is actually in field service management, the uninterrupted workflow way of working as from Vancouver. In other words, what this allows is that whenever a field engineer has to perform an activity at, let's say, a data center where the access to internet might be limited or just simply not available at all to perform the tasks at hand, the workflow no longer blocks the field engineers into proceeding with their tasks and with the activities at hand by allowing them, and through the Now Agents app, through the geolocation, it determines whether the field engineer has arrived physically on the location of the work order task to be handled, and allows them to skip the tasks and proceed on the activities, so that then later on managers can report on and identify these tasks, so that also the communication to customers is as transparent and as clear as possible. But here, once again, focusing on enabling the field engineers to act as uninterruptedly as possible, or in other words, it allows people to make workflow. Last but not least, there's a brief summary of the different product enhancements that happened in Vancouver. The list is very long. This is only a small subset of all the different things that have been improved in the Vancouver release. But some notable mentions are, of course, the territory planning console, which now has a redesigned approach to the different markers and the layer overlays within the map for a clearer view of the different territories you manage. There's also optimizations and changes on the task bundling activities. When it comes to dashboards, and as mentioned very well at the very beginning of the webinar by Sebastian, the dashboards have also made it to the configurable workspace for FSM, as it is the one used for CSM as well. So now you can easily duplicate already existing dashboards or create your own and centralize them in this single pane, let's say on this one-stop shop for agents and managers, which is the configurable workspace. On both the parts usage and the sourcing of parts, there have also been there are also, some substantial changes and optimizations, also thanks to better integrations with enterprise asset management, and which allows for a more accelerated sourcing of these parts within the work order tasks. I will now handle it to my next colleague, Paul Hertz, for the platform analytics. And as for the question on the Q&A, I will reply to it right now.
All right, thanks, Sergio. So for platform analytics and intelligence, we have 3 topics. Basically, we're going to talk a little bit about what are the new additions to the platform analytics workspace, and then there is some new cookie consent policy available for the user experience analytics. And for predictive intelligence, we have a new classification solution available and some improvements to the clustering. So the platform analytics workspace is actually the new playground for the dashboards that we can now use. So ServiceNow will be moving all the existing dashboards to the workspaces. There will be a migration tool in the future, but not just yet. But for now, we can enjoy some new features like the cascading filter that's being created for us. This was available on the old responsive canvas dashboards, but it's now available on the workspace dashboards. And as said, duplication of dashboards and tabs is now also possible. So this makes the editor a little bit more user-friendly as well. In addition to that, there are some new features like saving the created filters for other users, and as Sergio already said, you can show locational data on a map currently. So the next topic will be for the user experience analytics. This is basically the tool that ServiceNow provides to gain insight in how your platform is being used. So for the different applications and the different portals and workspaces. And you may have seen this on other websites where you have a cookie consent policy where you can actually flag what you want or what you allow to be tracked. That's now also available for the different pages in ServiceNow. So the next up is the predictive intelligence update. So for predictive intelligence, it allows you to predict what certain fields can be based on other fields of the records. There are 4 frameworks, and the classification framework has now been updated to more closely identify data trends for the set field data. And there is a new TF-IDF support for clustering. It's basically, it's called term frequency inverse document frequency, but this is to make the relevance, or it basically measures the importance of terms within a document and, of course, within your set of documents. So this improves the clustering part. All right. Next up, integrated risk management with Maximilian.
Yeah, hello. I will present you some new features of the IRM application, or it was difficult to choose actually features because there are multiple modules which are revamped, or even new models in the IRM suite. So actually 2 of my 3 topics I wanted to discuss today are actually revamped user interfaces of BCM, the new model of compliance case management, and I will start with the enhanced advanced risk engine. So There are several enhancements in the advanced risk engine. I think the biggest enhancement is that there is another assessment step, which is by default called target risk. That means it allows you now to define a target risk, so a risk once all the mitigative actions and controls are implemented, you want to achieve. And this step can be added to your risk assessment methodology. As I said, all of those steps are anyway optional, and you can configure it yourself. And now the really good thing about that is, because a lot of customers asked it in the past and it was a little bit difficult to do, is you can now change the naming of the assessment steps and what they then actually mean for you as an organization. Because maybe you don't call it target risk, maybe you call it you split the residual risk and the target risk in actual risk and net risk, for example, and you want to rename those steps. Or inherent risk is actually gross risk. So you can adjust it to your naming in the company, which allows you to use terminologies in ServiceNow your company is already used to. Furthermore, you also have now a guided playbook to schedule risk assessment. That means the different risk assessment life cycles can be scheduled in the playbook style, which allows users to do that pretty easily, and it's not so technical anymore as in form updates. What is really important to say, because I didn't say it on the overview slides, most of the enhancements of IRM, as it was already in the last release, will only come with the workspace user interface. So if you still use classic user interface, I would really highly recommend you to be able to use all the new features. Highly recommend you to migrate to the workspace user interface. As a next feature or as a next topic, I want to discuss the revamped BCM user interface. So in business continuity management, we still had an older version, older technology for the workspace, which is now was renewed. The look and feel is now way better. It's easy to navigate. You can now also use what my other colleagues said, the UI builder technology to create your own dashboards, your own graphs, etc. So the whole user experience is really enhanced there. And I think that was also asked of a lot of customers, and ServiceNow listened there. And that's really great. Besides the business continuity management workspace, also the vendor risk management application was completely renewed, not only the user interface, but also with functionalities. It will be from now on called third-party risk management. I just want to add it here because I was not able to have a fourth slide or fourth feature, but I still thought as a side note, I want to mention it here. So if you want to know anything about the new BCM user interface or the third-party risk management, which also comes with new functionalities and also a new license model, please reach out and we can organize a demo. As a last topic, I want to introduce a little bit to the new module in IRM, which is compliance case management. So compliance case management is part of your policy and compliance module, but actually it's a new module you have to install, and allows you or allows the company actually to together collaborate in compliance. So people can request the help of the compliance team, so create a case there. They can, if they witness a breach in a company or something which is not compliant, they can raise a case that can be analyzed, that can be assessed, what's the impact, etc., and therefore can be then resolved, or measures can be taken to avoid that there's no compliance in the company. So it's a great, cool new module. And also there I can say, if you want to see more about that, please get in contact with us, and we can organize a demo for that. And with that, I will hand over to Tim, and he will talk about App Engine, the new features in App Engine.
Thank you, Maximilian. Yes, indeed. I will talk about the latest and greatest in App Engine creator workflows. I want to talk about three different things today: scheduled deployments, the generative AI controller, and last but not least, text to code for custom applications. So to start off with scheduled deployments, App Engine Studio is the low-code, no-code toolbox from ServiceNow, which lets developers without any or very limited coding experience develop their own catalog items and even their own scoped applications. And App Engine Management Center is the tool for the admins, for the App Engine admins, to make sure that they can bring the right governance into the process. Now there's a new feature in App Engine Management Center, which is called Scheduled Deployments, which allows admins to schedule the deployments of new developed work inside App Engine Management Center. So before that, they only had the possibility to immediately deploy to the test acceptance or production instance, but now they can also schedule that, for example, to schedule the deployment for in the night outside of working hours, for example. Yeah, that gives a lot of flexibility to the admins to schedule these deployments, and also a lot more control in App Engine Management Center. Next up would be the generative AI controller. And this controller lets you or let developers connect ServiceNow to third-party GenAI providers like OpenAI and Azure OpenAI. So all these interesting AI features like summarizing, generating content, generic prompts, and AI searches can now also be used in ServiceNow in scoped applications. So that really helps to bring the power of AI to applications developed on the ServiceNow platform. Here on the right side, for example, we also see how this generative AI controller looks like in Flow Designer, where it can be implemented. Last but not least, for App Engine, it would be text to code for apps. So we had already earlier Willem mentioning text to code for the platform capabilities. Here in the context for scoped applications, I want to talk about text to code again, because it is available for no-code, low-code app development on the platform, in the sense that, for example, Flow Designer suggests the next best steps for no-code, low-code apps, but especially for pro-code applications, it will be very useful that developers can just add their natural language prompts, and the AI will give back proper JavaScript code. So that will really help to improve or to make it more efficient how custom applications on the ServiceNow platform can be developed with the power of AI. And then developers of scoped applications can focus more on the challenging tasks and can really get the support of the AI when writing their code. So that's it for App Engine Creator Workflows. And now I'm handing it back to Emma.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you to all of our presenters today. Now we would invite you to unmute your lines and ask any questions live, and certainly we'll monitor the chat as well to see if there are any unanswered questions. It looks like my colleagues did a wonderful job of responding to the questions, so let's consider that a wrap. Again, I want to thank you all for attending our Vancouver release webinar. Please reach out to us if you have any questions or if you want to take a deeper dive into any of the topics that we covered today. Thank you.